Hoop house is fixed. Tomatoes are in bed.
Yay!
What are you doing?
Burning holes in the buckets for our fermented feed.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
The fermented feed for...
Oh, I'm sorry. The fermented feed for the chickens. Okay, so anyway, we're doing fermented feed for our chickens, which is this stuff right here. And basically what fermented feed is just seeds in their food soaked in water. It kind of looks kind of sludgy. Well, that's the added minerals that they put in the feed. And this is a non-GMO feed. It consists of wheat, barley, and peas.
So there's no corn in it?
There is no corn in it. I double checked. So we don't want to feed corn to our birds except in the winter. We'll just kind of feed it to them as a treat because it helps keep them warm. Other than that, it really doesn't do any good for the birds. It keeps them warm. You feed it to them in the summer, it can overheat them, and blah 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 blah. But corn really has no nutritional value. It's full of sugars. Anyhow, I did holes just on one section of the bucket. Couple of reasons. I'm lazy. I didn't want to do the whole bucket, and my line of thought is, maybe I'll give you that if I can get these out, is I already tested it in this bucket here. So when we pull up the bucket out of the water, we can set it like this to drain, right?
Oh, that's a good idea.
We don't have it all coming out the back. We don't have to sit here and hold it. We just sit it here and drain. And kind of want to keep some of those minerals that they put in the feed in here as well. I'm not sure if everything sinking down to the bottom is going to happen. We'll see what happens and play it by ear. But it drains out super quick.
Yeah, it does.
So there's no reason to do.
And that might change once it's full of the fermented grain.
Yeah.
You might end up putting more holes, but you'll see when we do it.
It'll drain slower. So we need 3 buckets because you want the grain to ferment for 3 days. So 1 bucket a day. So we got our Monday bucket, our Tuesday bucket, our Wednesday bucket. So we use our Monday bucket. 1 bucket will feed the birds for that day. So we do
twice a day, right?
Twice a day. We do half in the morning, half at night. And then when it's done at night, we fill that bucket back up, and it goes over to Thursday. Then we use our Tuesday bucket. Then we'll use our number 3 bucket, our Wednesday bucket, and just keep rotating them like that.
So you have a 3-day fermented.
We always have a 3-day fermentation going on. And the reason 3 days, you can do 1 or 2 days, but from the research that we've done, just the past little bit, and plus when we lived in Fallon, the theory is the probiotics and the yeast in the feed is at its height on 3 days.
So fermented grain is kind of like kombucha and kimchi.
Yeah.
Is for people.
Yeah.
Because it's a good probiotic. So this is the same thing for fermenting the seed for the birds.
Yep.
Doesn't it also help create more vitamin B's? From what I read, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think if I read correctly, it also creates more vitamin B.
I mean, I've read a couple things, quite a few things, and you know, it's really hard to find corroborating evidence or corroborating stories that are saying they all do the same thing. And the one thing everybody can agree on is the probiotics.
Yes.
You know, I read somewhere that it also, the fermentation process also produces vitamin K, which everybody lacks in their diet.
Mm-hmm.
Even people lack vitamin K in their diet. So, I don't know. I'm just going to go by what everybody can agree on is the probiotics and gut health.
And they eat less this way too, correct?
Well, it's not necessarily less, but the feed, see, we'll save money on the feed because
We're getting more out of it.
this scoop right here, this is a 5-cup scoop?
Yep.
You already fed them this morning.
Yep.
So, in this bucket here was a 5-cup scoop. And we've already taken their morning rations out. But before we take the rations out, it's filled up to here with seeds. Or with their food. So anyhow, we were feeding 1 scoop twice a day. Plus their free range.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going, with the fermentation, we're going to be going to 1 scoop
Twice a day.
twice a day instead of 1 scoop 2 times a day. Did I say that right?
Yep.
So this scoop will double, and then they'll get it. So they're getting not necessarily more food, it's swollen with water, you know, but they're getting nutrient benefit from it.
More
nutrient.
benefits from it than they would eating it dry.
Not only that, they're free range, but coming into winter, we're probably going to up their food to maybe 1.5 scoops a day.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we're going to be doing fodder for them, which we're going to have a video coming up on that here shortly when we get the fodder going. And what else? So should we make some fermented grain?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll show you how to do it. So we're just going to take the scoop, dump it in the bucket, go over to water.
Go over to our running water in our cabin. Goose, you're in the way. Got a Gabby nose in there.
So that the water's going to settle down and sink to the... Gabby, move. So you want to keep the seed always covered with water. Because what's going to happen is if you don't keep the seed covered with water, you're going to get mold.
Right.
Mold is bad. Mold is not good. Keep the seed covered with water. We're going to have to check this in a little while to make sure. And once we get it figured out, I'll put a scratch mark on the inside of the bucket to where we need to know we need to put the water to. Because it'll fill up and be gross. And if you can remember to stir it. Get all, just kind of help gets it going. And you can see how this water's kind of murky and gross. But I mean, and we've only been doing 2-day soaks because we only had 2 ice cream buckets. You can see it's kind of slimy. You can feel it's kind of viscous. That's the yeast and stuff like that. So you want to smell it. If I can stir it up, get some of these yeast active. You see little bubbles starting to form. I'm not stirring really heavy to form bubbles, but it'll get a yeasty smell. And you can smell it. It kind of gets yeasty, and that's a good smell. When you start getting it where it starts getting too strong, like almost like between a sourdough starter and a vinegar smell. It's kind of when it's starting to go off. It's still, I guess, okay to feed them. I would. Because if it's not good for them, or if it's not something they like, they're not going to eat it. Chickens aren't going to. They're incredible creatures.
And fun.
Just incredible creatures. The velociraptor of the modern day. They just know what they can and can't eat because they're grazers. They eat a little bit here, a little bit here. If it's something that upsets their stomach or whatever, they don't touch it again.
So how are the birds with this new feed, with the fermented seed?
Oh, they're nutbags. They go ape over it. They just go ballistic. The other day, Tony was going out to feed them, and I don't remember what the whole situation was, but we get outside and the birds are all over here by the solar panels and just all freaking out, spazzing out. One of them jumped up on this slab of cedar we have sitting outside the cabin, you know, kind of puts it up at leg high or so, and jumped up onto the trays and knocked the trays all over the place. So we just picked up the trays and said, screw you guys, you don't get plates tonight.
And then in the mornings, it's a lot easier to feed them, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
You don't let them out of the coop until their food's ready.
Yeah, we just take the trays up there and set it down, open up the coop, and they go run, and they barge out of that coop and go running straight up there. It's evenings, though, because they're already outside, whole different story. And we're going to try to get some good footage of that this evening so you guys can see.
So now they're coming into freeload season where they're not going to be paying for their keep. They're not going to be free ranging. So this is when we really need to take care of the birds and they don't take care of themselves.
Yep.
So we're going to be feeding them extra grain. They're going to still get the fermented seeds a couple times a day. They're going to get fodder. And
are we going to be adding some corn to their diet for the winter to help them stay warm? Okay.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe and comment. What do you think about fermenting your seed for your chicks? They absolutely love it. Bye, everyone.